What's up, guys? I'm James Baney, and I'm here with Kyle Larson, and we normally do book discussions, which there is a book discussion out on the book that we're talking about today, which is Poe Dameron Free Fall. That is a full review and kind of discussion of the book, but this particular video that you clicked on is for the full-on spoilers, because we know a lot of people maybe don't have the time to read the book, or maybe they just don't want to spend the money, or let's be honest, sometimes you just don't care to pick it up. You're just not that interested, but a lot of times you want to know what happened in the book. So that's why me and Kyle are here today. We are going to make a short little video here just strictly telling you what happened in Poe Dameron Free Fall. Not Free For All. Free Fall.
Free Fall.
It's an interesting book name. All right. Free Fall. All right. So let's get it kicked off real quick here. I'm just going to do a little bit of the setting here. Poe Dameron is now 16 years old. It's about 14 years after Return of the Jedi. He's living on Yavin 4 with his dad, Kes Dameron, but not his mom. His mom died a while back, and it's been a big dividing topic between Poe and his father. Poe obviously longs to be adventurous, and Kes just kind of wants to keep him safe and on the planet. Obviously, it has to do a lot with his mom. So, Kyle, what's next in the story? So, how's the book actually start?
Well, the story gets off with him continuously trying to run away and getting caught. He has a conversation with Lulo, who, if you read Shattered Empire and have been reading the ongoing Star Wars running right now, he's a co-pilot, or he was Sharabe, Poe's mom's co-pilot. So after a crash, Poe runs away from to a local bar where he runs into the young Zori Wynn. Even though he knows that she's a part of this dangerous spice running gang, he convinces the people that he can get them off of Yavin 4. And he encounters some of the NRSB, who are the New Republic Security Bureau, on the way out, but claims he's being kidnapped, and the New Republic officers back off. What happens next?
Yeah. So they just kind of like let him go because, I don't know, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, they kind of fake that he's a hostage.
Yeah. Well, he now is kind of working with the Kijimi Spice Runners, right? And they're a little bit more nefarious than he signed up for, but he's cool with it, right? He goes on a specific mission with Zori, and they meet up with this guy who's basically the number 2 in charge and kind of a mentor to Zori, and his name is Tommaso, and he's a human character, we believe. They don't really say his specifications, but they describe him as a man, a big man, if you will. But while they're meeting up, they're attacked by these other spice runners, which actually happens a lot in this book. They just kind of get into scuffles randomly. But they run into these spice runners, and they're forced into jail, but then they're rescued by Vigilch, right? Vigilch?
Yeah.
Vigilch.
Yeah.
Man, I can't.
Yeah.
And I read the audiobook, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I was going to ask you.
Now, this character is the person who was kind of in charge of the small little squad when he signed up. So he's kind of becoming like a reoccurring like person who shows up and kind of gets them out of trouble. But he rescues them, and during the rescue, Poe learns how to successfully do light speed skipping, which is kind of a wink to the Rise of Skywalker, right? And he does it so well that the team is impressed, and they're like, hey, good job, we're really proud of you. Meanwhile, back on Yavin 4, there's a character who's part of that New Republic Security Bureau named Sela Troon, and she's obsessed with the Spice Runners because the Spice Runners killed her brother years ago, so she's trying to kind of get revenge on them, or, as far as she hints at this point. So that's why she's after Poe. What's next?
So there's a lot more fancy flying stuff with Poe, and it just kind of showcases the different maneuvers that he's learning while he's working with these spice runners. Before he'd actually never even flown out of the orbit of Yavin 4, but he kind of BS'd his way into being their pilot extraordinaire.
Yep.
But at one point they encountered a Zabrak pirate who's out to kill them, but they managed to escape from her. And at the same time, they also encountered this NRSB officer, Sela Troon, And Zori and the crew, they get away, but Poe has some words in a small battle before he takes the ship back to a planet called Sorgon, which I didn't catch it at the time, but James mentioned is the same peaceful planet that the Mandalorian and the child seek refuge in the show The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So where do we go from there, James?
Mm-hmm. So this starts part 3, and we're 3 months in of Poe Dameron being a spice runner. They have kind of, the leak has pointed out that there's a mole somewhere. They're starting to sort out this mole. And while investigating, they utilize this droid named Evie, which is one of the droids, the one from Return of the Jedi that's like... He's actually in The Mandalorian now. He's the new bartender. What kind of droid that is.
Totally. I don't know the model I know you're talking about.
Yeah, they overcome a Guavian death gang in order to, get out of the situation. And Vigil, the squad leader guy, is actually killed during the incident. And it just causes Poe to kind of be like, hey, that guy, he kind of was helping me out, and he was a good person to a certain degree, and I don't really know that this is right for me. So he's having his first kind of issues with being in the Spice Runners. At this point, Kes and Lulo show up conveniently, and they kind of go through this like tug of war where they're trying to say, come home, Poe, and Zori's there like, no, and they get in a conflict, and then Poe ultimately decides that he's going to stay, and he goes with Zori. So now we're 8 months in. What's happening? There's another time jump. We're 8 months in.
Yes, there's another time jump, and so we do find out who the mole is, and it's a different member of the crew than we're led to believe. But now Troon finds out, is kind of using the mole to play it to her advantage and turn people against one another. Mm-hmm. So we get back to Kijimi, and we're introduced to Zeva Bliss, who is the leader of the Spice Runners, who is Zori's mother, and she is also wearing the very now infamous armor that we have seen in The Rise of Skywalker that Zori is wearing. Mm-hmm. And she actually kills Tommaso, who she considered one of her most loyal people, but now believes she's the mole because that's been convoluted by this other mole. So she kills Tommaso in a pretty shocking display, and then and officially makes Poe and Zori Spice Runners, because up until this point you weren't really a Spice Runner until the big boss said you were, and Zeva Bliss is the big boss, so they're Spice Runners. Over to you, James.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because Tommaso at this point wasn't one either, but he was still second in command or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of hard to figure out the leadership there, but it's kind of interesting that he got killed at this point.
Yeah, totally.
So after all this happens, Zori has this heart to heart with Babu Frick about is her life already written, and she's not sure about becoming the leader of this big organization. She never really got to have any adventures or anything like that. I mean, not adventures, but not really freedom. And meanwhile, while this is going on, Zeva Bliss, the leader, is setting up this thing called the Spice Runner Summit. And the Spice Runner Summit is going to be inviting all these local bad guys who are basically taking all the business, right? Or they're all kind of sharing it. And they're going to try to work together to become a small little empire so that the New Republic knows them and they're a big problem. But surprise, not a big reveal here, but it's all a trap. And the real plan is just to kill all those bad guys, right? Poe thinks this is massively dishonorable. I don't know what the word is. Dishonorable.
Yeah.
and he thinks that's the last straw, so he ditches on all of it, and he kind of sabotages the whole thing. Troon shows up at this point for her final confrontation. She shows up and reveals that she was actually, like you were alluding to before, playing everybody, and Tommaso was not actually the mole, and it was someone else. And that just emotionally wrecks Zeva. So then Zeva just gets angry and stabs Troon. And there's kind of a heartfelt moment here with Poe and Troon as she's dying, because they have this you were always chasing after me, and he's like, it's not all about you. I wanted to save you. I wanted to destroy the Spice Runners so that they didn't ruin another family like you have with your father. And so I think that kind of like really set him off. Zori is still shocked that that Poe is doing what he's doing, and she comes over and she says, "Look, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. It was wrong. We shouldn't have attempted to kill all those people. So I'm going to make it up to you now. Join me. We'll overthrow my mom, and we'll make the Spice Runners whatever we want it to be." And Poe says, "Nope. I'm out of here." He just leaves the situation and leaves Zori there to deal with her mom, her mom's going to deal with her in whatever way. We don't know.
You can kind of see why she was
the last little
unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that obviously sets us up for where we find him in Rise of Skywalker again. So the last little bit of the book, the very last chapter, is just him trying to make his way off the planet. He has another confrontation with Babu Frick, and Babu Frick is like, "I'm not going to help you, but I can kind of help you. Just get out of here." And while he's sitting in a bar waiting to get off the planet, he sees a holo of Leia Organa on the Newsnet, and she gives a really good speech, and he decides that that's his future. He feels he's called to join the New Republic officially. So that's it. That's Freefall. Poe Dameron, Freefall, the book. We're not going to give any review or opinion on the book in this video. This was just to get you through it, to let you know exactly what happens, so you can kind of keep up and place everything in the timeline. But if you do want to hear us talk about it, go watch the other video, which is a book discussions. You can find it in the end titles of this video. But we're going to be doing review, rating, and full-on spoiler discussion for that too. So Kyle, really quick, where can people find you online?
You can find me writing for Star Wars Newsnet, and I also contribute to What the Force Show on their website as well. So, and eventually someday I'll be back on Twitter too, at Kyle D. Larson.
yeah.
Not there right now.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks, and regularly on the Resistance broadcast, the official podcast of Star Wars Newsnet. Until next book, we'll see you around.